Welcome back, everyone. Today on the channel, we will be doing something a little bit different. We will be touring the former home of the Texas Rangers. It's not their new home or their current home, but I think we're lucky that we can still look at their old stadium. You know, if you imagine if we could see the old Polo Grounds or Yankee Stadium, how awesome that would be. So I think it's still cool to go back and look at the old ballpark, even though it's not their current one. With that being said, we will be touring Choctaw Stadium, formerly Globe Life Park, until 2021. We'll be showing you things like the suites, the press box, views from the field, and many other features of the ballpark. Located between Dallas and Fort Worth, Texas, and Arlington, Texas. Every photo you see today was taken by me. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You can write in the comment section what you like about the ballpark. And with that, we can start the tour. The ballpark opened up back in 1994, and when the Rangers left the ballpark, the capacity for baseball is 48,114. If you look out in center field, you can see what I think is probably the most unique or cool thing about the ballpark, and that's all the office space that's out beyond center field. This is a close-up of that office space. When I used to watch the games, I thought it was a hotel or something like that out there, but it's actually an office that companies could rent out year-round, so they could, you'd be there during the game and, obviously Monday through Friday or whenever you needed to be there. There's a food court area located between the offices and the batter's eye that you can see below. And then if you see up above, they actually had all this advertising that went across above the offices. I don't know, maybe a little tacky, but it was also something unique to the ballpark. I always thought the layout of the ballpark was really nice. It was fully enclosed on all four sides. It had a lot of symmetry to it, and it was in the shape of a square. Even though it had a square shape, it wasn't like the old cookie cutter stadiums that were in just a boring circular shape. I think it actually looked really well. I think the grounds around the ballpark really complemented it as well. You can see this grassy area, and there's a lake behind this, if you want to call it that. And you just see from this photo at night, it just looks absolutely amazing. The exterior of the ballpark is also very gorgeous. It's made of brick and Texas sunset red granite. You can see that the windows are curved shaped. They're paid tribute to the old Comiskey Park in Chicago. And then you can see the Longhorn and the star and things like that, very Texas themes. Walking around the stadium, the concourses are like no other ones I've seen in baseball before, and they're absolutely amazing. The architecture goes great with the area and gives off a very southern or Texas feel to it. You have a perimeter facade that goes around the ballpark, but with all the large windows, it gives a very outdoor feeling when you walk around the area. The way the ballpark is laid out and the openness of the ballpark, the suite level actually overlooks the concourse below. The suite level has a black and white color scheme, which I'm not always a fan of, but I think it actually goes really well here, and the overall look to this level has a very clean look to it. This is a view to the entrances of one of those suites. This is the George W. Bush Owner's Suite. This is a view inside one of those suites, pretty typical for Major League Baseball. If you've seen my video on the Diamondbacks ballpark, it looks very similar to this, in contrast to what you would see in an NFL stadium. This is a view from inside one of those suites looking out towards the field, and of course it provides a great view. Previously I showed you the George Bush suite. He never actually watched the game up there though. He actually always watched the game down below in one of these field level seats. I think the story of this ballpark is pretty sad. It's a great ballpark and it really wasn't that old when the Rangers built a new one. Unfortunately though, with the Texas heat, it was just so hot, and so they decided to build a new ballpark that had a retractable roof. So with that being said, let's talk about some of the great features of this ballpark. You can see the batter's eye here. It has the grass knoll, if you will, up beyond center field. I think it had a clean look. And then they have this enclosed black glass area where people could watch the game. And this is a view inside that enclosed area beyond the batter's eye. When it was extremely hot in Texas, it would be a great place to come in, watch the game, and you had some great views beyond center field. The seating layout that wrapped around the infield was pretty typical for Major League Baseball. There was 3 tiers of seating with suites above and below the second tier. The seating beyond right field, though, is actually really unique. It pays homage to the old school style of ballparks. It has this double deck that has the columns that actually go up through the seating with a, an old school style roof that pays tribute to the old Tiger Stadium. This is a view walking along the concourse beyond right field, kind of under that upper deck, and you can just see all those columns there. It kind of reminds me of, you go to Wrigley Field and you have the columns that could block your view, which, doesn't necessarily have the great seating view, but it kind of pays tribute to those old ballparks. Another thing I noticed walking around this ballpark was the steel framing. It was absolutely gorgeous, and architecturally it was really shown off. You can see here, you see the star inside the steel framing. The framing's necessary, but some ballparks just use it for structure. They actually make it an architectural piece. Going back to the exterior of the ballpark, I think it's absolutely gorgeous. The color scheme, the bricks and the towers, it reminds me a lot of Oracle Park in San Francisco, but I think coupling that with the geometry and the symmetry, it looks great. This is looking back up at the press box behind home plate. We'll go check that out in a moment. This is a view inside the press box. A lot of press boxes look pretty similar, not a lot going on. One thing that I thought was unique about this one was the sloping kind of metal deck on the front side of the roof of the press box. Hadn't really seen anything like that before. To the left of the screen, you can kind of see the roof of that press box, and this is just a view looking out towards the fans or at the seating from that press box. Looking out in the outfield, you can see they had large video boards in left and right field, and then they had a small one in dead center. If you look around the roof overhang below the lights, you can see the white trusses wrapping around, and that pays tribute to the old Yankee Stadium. In right field, you have the old school seating. In left field, you can see they have this enclosed area where you see Jack Daniels, which is a great place to go to get out of the summer heat. I wanted to throw this photo in, kind of a unique area that I haven't seen in a lot of ballparks, where you have the seating with an opening above and below the seating. I just thought it was pretty cool because you have the open airway above, and then you have the walkway underneath. Not something I'd seen before. This ballpark is actually pretty large for Major League Baseball. The largest baseball attendance at this ballpark was 52,419 during the 2010 World Series, which you think about it, most attendances for a Major League Baseball game somewhere in the 40,000 range. The outfield fence dimensions for this ballpark were not very large, and given the extreme Texas heat, this was a very hitter-friendly ballpark. The new ballpark just doesn't have the hitter-friendliness that this one had. This is a view of the tunnel area where the players and staff walk through. Pretty standard for Major League Baseball. It's actually a little surprising. You look at it, it seems pretty narrow, but nothing too unique here. This is the area behind the dugout that the players and managers walk through. During a game, you see them disappear, go beyond the dugout. This is where they come down to. Even though the ballpark had to go through the extreme Texas heat, you can see here that they had natural grass, which I think is always a plus for a ballpark. In 2020, the Rangers left this ballpark and they renovated it into a multi-purpose stadium. Now it's used for soccer and rugby and football and things like that. When the Rangers left this ballpark, they moved into the new Globe Life Field. You can see from this view, this is what it looked like when I was at the ballpark. I haven't been back since the new ballpark opened. I'll have to take a trip out there and do a video on that once I actually go back. If you watch my video on the Dallas Cowboys Stadium, you know that this is all in the same complex. You have the Dallas Cowboys Stadium, the Rangers' new and old ballpark, and right in the middle of that you have what they call Texas Live, which is a series of bars, and you can see it from this photo. So if you want more information on that, go check out my Dallas Cowboys Stadium. Every video I like to throw in a photo of myself at the ballpark, showing I was actually there. Subscribe to the channel if you want me to keep doing videos. This brings us towards the end of our tour, so you can write in the comments section what stadium you want me to do next. And with that, take care and see you next time.